I have come to the realization that I am a toxic disc golf viewer. What I mean by that is whenever I watch the Pro Tour or just other people's videos, I always catch myself saying, "How did you miss that putt?" Or, "Even I could make that throw." I have basically become the drunk uncle on Thanksgiving who just watched his quarterback throw the third interception of the game. That should have been me out there, even though I'm only 6 foot and 180 pounds. Anyways, the plan for today is that I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to try to recreate 7 of the most iconic shots in disc golf history that progressively get more difficult. This Pro Tour season had many nail-biter endings, but the one that really stuck out to me was the European Disc Golf Festival. There were so many things that made this tournament great, like just from watching, it really felt like a high-level professional atmosphere. But the best thing about it was the battle between Gannon Buhr and Calvin Heimburg. And it all came down to the last hole of the tournament, where all Calvin had to do was birdie to win his first ever major. And after a subpar tee shot, all he had to do was make a 42-foot putt out in the wide open to be named champion.
Calvin Heimburg wins! Calvin Heimburg does it!
So to recreate this, I need to do exactly what he just did. Measure out 42 feet, make the putt, and then celebrate in Calvin fashion. And since I'm pretty good at putting, I made this one on my first try. Crap.
Calvin Heimburg wins! Calvin Heimburg does it!
Moving on to hole 2, what do you think of when it comes to the 2021 World Championships? It's obviously this, but this one isn't that. Rather, in the FPO division, on hole 18 of the last round of the tournament, Paige Pierce had a 1-stroke lead over Katrina Allen. Off the tee, Paige had a slightly farther drive, so this forced Katrina to throw a blind turnover all the way to just inside the island. This shifted all the pressure over to Paige, and she was pinched off, so she had to lay up just to be able to force a playoff. But she completely exploded, and Katrina didn't even have to make her putt to win her second world championship.
Walking to her putt.
So what we are going to recreate is the blind turnover that won Katrina the tournament. The rules for this one were pretty simple, as it just has to be a turnover, and it has to land in the island of 25 feet. I couldn't find an exact distance, so I just kind of took a guess around 345 feet. Before actually showing this one, I just wanted to mention I wanted to get an iconic throw from when Kristen won all 4 majors in 1 year. But when I went and looked at the scores, she won all of them by too much. Like, she won a major by 16 strokes. How does that even happen? Like, I don't even know if I could do that against a group of 3rd graders. Anyways, for this one, I started off throwing proxies until I realized that I'm still bad at this sport and I can't throw far enough. So I ended up stepping up to Buzz SS's. Oh, that's short too. Dang it. And then, still being too short, I stepped up to a Valkyrie, which I got to work on my 8th attempt. Perfect. For hole 3, there isn't any real historic value here, but a fun shot to highlight is the Reed Frescura skip shots.
You better start buying it. I don't understand it.
When you think of winners on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, you don't ever think of Reed Frescura because he didn't win anything. But he ended up making a name for himself by continuously throwing a skip shot whenever possible. And for good reason, because once you figure out how the skip shot works, they're kind of hard to mess up as you just have to throw a stable disc on hyzer.
Why would Rediscura not throw a skip shot off the water?
To recreate this, we have to have the disc hit the water first and then land in an island of about 15 feet. Starting off, I was super confident in being able to get this somewhere in between 10 to 20 throws, but I ended up having this happen on my third throw.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll get another.
And then looking at this from the other side of the lake, I honestly thought that this had hit the rocks first. So I just kept throwing because I was thinking that since this happened so early, it had to be easy, right? Right?
Oh, that one's gone forever. Oh. I kind of want that one back.
After continuing on, there was a problem that I didn't realize. It's winter now, and that means the lake's water gets lowered, and that makes it so much harder to get the skip all the way to the island, because basically a shelf gets created that blocks all the discs off the bounce.
Probably also doesn't help the water's way down.
And this made what is usually an easy shot super aggravating.
Gosh, that's so aggravating. No! Dang it.
After 41 throws, I got really tired of losing discs into the water.
R.I.P. Dang it.
So I decided to review the footage from earlier. And wouldn't you know, it would have counted. On to hole 4, there's honestly 2 different shots that this one could be. The first one being in the 2022 World Championship when Paul Macbeth made a dagger of a putt to go on to win his 6th World Championship. And then the second one being the 2016 Masters Cup, where we got to see the birth of Raptor Legs. In this one, Ricky Wysocki and Paul Macbeth were battling, and it came down to the last hole with 2 massive putts. Ricky then made a 70-foot putt, shifting all the pressure over to Paul, who missed his 45-foot putt, naming Ricky champion.
And this is your 2016 Steady Ed Masters Cup champion, Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah! You can pick whichever one of these you like. It doesn't matter. They are both around 70 feet long. I'm personally going to go with the Paul one, only because Ricky wore one of the most atrocious outfits I have ever seen. Like, what is this? I don't even know what I'm looking at. He honestly looks like the bubblegum girl from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. On to the actual throws. I originally thought this one was going to be an easier one to complete, but the distance is just outside of my normal max putting distance, so it did take a handful of tries to actually recreate.
Oh, dude, that's kind of far.
Doing this really put into perspective how hard these putts are to make, especially with the tournament on the line. But after figuring out the distance, it didn't take too long to get this one into the basket.
Oh, man.
Next we have hole 5, which is from the 2023 Discraft Great Lakes Open. In this tournament, hole 16 was a 396-foot island shot. And during the last round of this tournament, Simon Lizotte came into this hole with a 2-stroke lead, knowing all he had to do was par to force the other players to have to try to beat him. So what does he do? He throws it straight out of bounds. But he did this on purpose because of how the island rules were set. So he got to take his putt from right beside the basket for a tap-in par. On top of that, everybody else on the card bogeyed, so he was able to just coast for the rest of the tournament for an easy win. And this is one of my absolute favorite shots in disc golf history. And that's because I want to be able to break a hole like this. But I don't have near the brain, the skill, or the confidence to do so. My version of this hole was slightly downhill, so I backed up another 40 feet just to even it out. The goal to recreate this one was to throw a destroyer through a double mando between these two trees here. And the biggest difficulty here was the distance, because 440-ish feet is really starting to push my limits. I also think this is a really good representation of why distance is important. Like for Simon, this is just a simple throw where he just has to throw a stable disc straight, because he can throw far enough to not even have to shape it. As for me, this really has to be a perfect throw, taking into account the angle, the wind, and having to throw a more understable disc.
Is that far enough? No.
So I do think it is important to have more distance on the course, because in tournaments it can just unlock so many more options. Here on the 440-foot downhill island, the throw has some turn on it, and it makes it through the island. What a throw from the most handsome person on the course right now. So the first 5 holes were just, nice casual day on the course. Then the last 2 turned into extreme, death-defying sports. Well, not quite, but you get my point. During the 2022 European Open, an injured Eagle McMahon resorted to a left-hand backhand on the 380-foot hole 2.
Oh, this is incredible. He's in the circle.
I am not able to throw 380 feet left-handed, so instead I'm going to try to use all the backhand knowledge I have to try and throw 300 feet into circle 1 left-handed. I might have forgot to push the record button for my first 10 throws, but here is exactly how the first throw looked. For this one, there was a lot of uncertainties.
A lot of risk.
I had no clue how many throws to expect or even what discs to throw. I settled on 10 really understable discs for my normal backhand, but getting an actual S-flight out of them was a complete joke.
It's just not, okay, I can't get him to flip up.
And somehow, really early on, I got this to happen.
Go! I'm parked.
Does that make it?
Yeah, I'm like 5 feet from the basket.
Maybe you should do that from now on.
Update. I was 3-4 feet short of the island.
Now, this did turn out to be a really good sign that this was actually possible. The only problem was, I have no clue how this happened. I was not able to replicate this again.
Oh.
In this sport, 300 feet is not really a lot of distance. Like, we have maniacs going around throwing over 700. But going back to not knowing how to throw a disc really shows how much every little movement matters. So, if I had all the time in the world to learn how to actually throw 380 feet left-handed, I would just start with throwing like 200 feet as smooth as possible for like a week.
No.
Just trying to get the dexterity in my body for all the small movements, like release angles, and a comfortable form that doesn't look like this.
No. Oh. It's kind of hurting my shoulder a little bit.
But I didn't do that. Instead, I just tried what every smart person would do, forcing my body to make it work. So the things I focused on was my steps, flicking my wrist, and pulling through as hard as I can. And let me tell you, don't do this. Sure, I was able to get a couple of good throws, but they still ended up about 30 to 40 feet short.
Yep, there it is. Money. Dang it.
But forcing your body to do something only has one result, and that's pain.
Oh my gosh, dude, I don't think I can do this. My shoulder's starting to hurt so bad too.
And it just seemed like throws were getting worse and worse.
Ooh. Dang it.
So I made an executive decision to move up around 40 feet from the original position. This is definitely cheating, but because the left side of my body hurt so bad, I just didn't really care. So now it's probably around 260 feet, and I just needed one decent throw to be able to get it inside circle
here
1.
Anymore.
Even after moving up, it still wasn't easy, as I could only get a few of the discs I had to actually turn. But finally, we was able to get this one into the circle.
Please come back
and
in.
Make the putt.
Break. That's in.
Yeah.
Now for hole 7 and the final hole of the challenge, we have the most obvious one, which is the Corey Ellis European Open Island Shot. Nah, I'm just kidding. This is obviously 2021 MPO Worlds. Now, not very many people actually watch disc golf, but this is probably one of the only shots that even your cat has seen. And if you haven't watched it, basically what happened was, in the final hole of the final round of the 2021 World Championship, James Conrad was one stroke back from Paul McBeth and was in no position to birdie. James was 247 feet away, and his only chance of making up a stroke was throwing it in. And with the entire tournament on the line, and the eyes of every spectator, competitor, and barely being able to see, and just like that, Paul McBeth watched his 6th World Championship fly out of his pocket. Like, there is no way that this actually happened, right? I am completely on board with saying everybody involved in this was a paid actor. Conrad was a paid actor, Paul was paid off, the basket was paid, and this guy too. Anyways, the rules for this one are pretty simple, as it has to be from 247 feet away, and it has to be a turnover. For this I had 20 discs, 5 Buzz SS's, and 15 proxies because they are just better envies. And on my second throw, guess what? I hit the pole.
That was pretty good.
This gave me all the confidence in the world that I was going to make this in the next 100 throws or so. I was wrong.
Oh, it's got a chance. Drop. Oh, that's a mile deep. 20 down. Get up. Push. Oh! Oh, drop. Oh, wow. Oh! Drop, 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 drop. Oh! No, I threw it on an angle. No, no. Oh, no. Oh.
Here at around 300 throws, a guy came up to me, and I obviously offered to let him play through.
You can play through them.
Oh, no, I quit playing because you're still here.
Oh, sorry.
Now, at this course, I was on hole 16, but from there, you can see the parking lot and hole 1. And I might be overthinking this, but this guy pulled in, seen me throwing, then played the entire course, and then got to me hours later, and I'm still throwing at the same basket. And I'm not entirely sure what to think about that. Back to throwing discs. Time really started to become a factor. I started throwing at around 1 o'clock, and it already started getting close to 5. But the biggest issue is I've burned through all my camera batteries and my last one was about to die. This forced a decision to be made that I had 20 throws left and to call it a day. And the only goal here was to give all 20 of them a chance.
Just make all 20 good. Make 20 good throws. That's all we can do. I'll take that as that's not bad.
And of course I couldn't do that, but I at least wanted to think I could.
Oh, that one was terrible. Get up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 more. Yeah, 8 more. Oh no, dude, I'm just tired.
The last batch went by way too fast, and all hope was lost until it came down to the last 3 throws.
Yep, that was bad too. Dang it. 2 more. No.
And on my last throw, I needed a miracle.
One last throw.
Kind of like James did back in 2021.
One last throw. Back's against the wall.
And you won't believe what happened.
That's got a chance. And I freaking wasted it. Good job.
Yeah, I wasted it. This confirmed to me that disc golf is scripted, and there is absolutely nothing you can do to convince me otherwise. Now, I could have gone back the next weekend, but it almost didn't feel right. Because it's normal to not win every time in disc golf. For example, in this tournament, Paul did everything he needed to do to win, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. But that is about all I have for this video. So thank you for watching, and let me know what you thought. Maybe even consider subscribing or watching another.